Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Uh, First, I'd like to say welcome to the Best CNC by Paul on YouTube. And tonight I am going to be covering 0 point and how to use the 0 point, how to manipulate it, how to set it, and basically just to show you how to put your 0 point exactly where you want it. So I'm going to turn you around here. And let's see here. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is I'm just going to start a new project here. Okay, let's wait for this slow machine to start up here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to set in a piece of wood that I'm going to say would be kind of equal to the piece of wood that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to say 150 and X. $150 and X, and I'm going to say 100 and Y, and I'm going to say that it is 10 millimeters thick. Okay, so now I got my material set in. I'll close that window, and I'm just going to change the size of my machine to what it is supposed to be, and a 3018 is 30 centimeters by 18 centimeters, which is 300 millimeters by 180 millimeters. And that is the size of the 3018. Okay? So I'm just going to check there. And this here, this is going to show you. See here the light area here? This is the size. This is my whole table on my machine. And this is the size of my workpiece that I'm using right now. Now, I can tell you this. Whenever you're going to start doing a drawing, an easel, give yourself a lot of room. You do not need the preview right now. The preview is more of when you're going to be getting into the carving part of it. So what I usually do is in the middle right here, I grab these 3 dots and I pull this over like that. Okay? Now I'm going to enlarge by using the plus and minus sign here. I'm going to enlarge my workpiece and I'm going to place it so I can see my entire workpiece. Okay? And I'm going going to just pull it over here like that. All right. Now, what you really, really need to understand is this. These coordinates on this side here, and these are your y-axis, your table going forward and backwards, okay? These coordinates down here are your x-axis. That's your left and right. All right, now, there's a couple of little things that I'm just going to pull up. I'm just going to pull up a shape here, and I'm going to pull up a square right now. Okay? And I'm just going to pull it anywhere here on my workpiece. Okay? This is my workpiece. All right? So now, as most of you people know, that as soon as you pull up a shape, that it's going to come in as a pocket. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change it from a pocket, and I'm going to say cut outside shape path. And right now I'm just going to make my bit a little bit smaller just for viewing purposes, okay? And I'm going to call it a 1 millimeter. There we go. Now it's a little bit clearer to see. And you see, by moving your screen over the preview area, you're giving yourself a lot of room to work, but what you're not getting is this. I'm going to show you. If this was back over here, like that, you have this window covering up part of your workpiece. And that's what you don't want to do. Okay? So that is why I pull this out like this. So I can still see my my preview, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to be working over here now. All right. So this window right here, cut and shape. It is not this. This is how you're gonna how deep you're gonna cut it, your material. And right now I'm just gonna put it on 2 millimeters. Okay. And let me see, just okay there, 2 millimeters. So, and then this is how deep you're gonna cut it, and here's how you're gonna cut it. Cut it clear out pocket, cut on shape path, cut outside shape path, cut alongside shape path. These here are all to do with your shape, okay? And I can tell you this is also where you are going to change your shape if you want by using edit points, okay? Down here. All right, so but we're going to be talking about 0 point. Now, one thing you have to understand here is your 0 point down here, okay? This 0 point here, you have to understand that this will always be your 0 point in relationship to your drawing. This relationship right here, this relationship here is what you are going to have to learn to be able to manipulate it, okay? Right now I can move this square anywhere I want on my piece of wood, okay? So how do I want to set it up so that it's the simplest possible for me to be able to set my 0 point and position my object exactly where I want it on my piece of material, which is this big right here. Okay? So, first thing we're going to do is you have to have your object highlighted to get this window up. Now, I'm going to move you over just a little bit. So, okay, now just move it over a little bit. I'm moving it over a little bit more now so that you can really see what's happening here. Okay? Now, when I click on shape, these are split up into 4 sections here. This section right here, position, is your first section. Guess why it's the first section? Because it's the most important section. Position. This position means the position of your workpiece on your object on your workpiece. Okay? So what we're looking at here is if this dice right here, okay? If I could take that dice right off of there and glue it right on top of my object, that's all it is a reference. That's all it is. It has absolutely zero use. It is only a reference. Okay, right now, you see that the bottom left-hand corner is lit up. It is saying that on this object right here, that I am selecting this bottom left-hand corner as my reference point, my position reference point. By selecting the bottom left-hand corner button, you are telling Easel, right now I want to reference this corner to my 0 point. This corner right here to my 0 point. So, if you look over here now, here it says X, 35 millimeters. Well, guess what? Go down here and you go 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 35. Come right up, bang, guess what? That is the X reference to my bottom left-hand corner. Now, Y, 39.0 millimeters. So over here on the Y, I could go 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I come across, and boom, guess what? There is my corner right there. All this right here is only for reference only. And I'm going to show you right now, I am going to reference the center of my object to my 0 point. So I click on the center. And now these numbers changed. X and Y changed. Because I am not referencing from here anymore to the corner, to my 0 point, the bottom left-hand corner. I am referencing from the dead center of my, if I drew a line from this handle to this handle, and then drew a line from this handle over to this handle, right where they intersect, which would be right about there, that is going to be our reference point now, because I told it that we are referencing from the dead center of our object. This is for your object. It has nothing to do with your workspace. your work material, anything, nothing. This is only for referencing your object. Okay? And right now in X, it says 60.4 millimeters. So if I go down here and I count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.4, and I come up, that's dead center right in the middle there. Then I go to Y. I count up 64.4. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4.4, and I come right across, and guess what? That's right dead smack in the center of my object. So now I can, if I want, I can, so these here, you can select them anytime you want. You can select these here, you can select this one here. It has nothing to do with your carving. Nothing. Absolutely zero. Until you start manipulating them, these numbers here. And this is the cool part. So right now, I am saying that we are referencing the top left corner. I'm sorry, the top right corner. We are referencing the top right corner, which is this corner here. Now, we are referencing this corner to our 0 point down here. And here in X, 85.8. Okay, I can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.8. And I come up and I'm right here at the corner of top left right corner of my object. And in Y, it will be 89.8. In other words, 90. So if I say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, minus 0.02, we are right here at this same height. Okay? So remember, this here box, that's all it does is references the point that you want to reference to 0. Now, I got to explain a little bit. Remember I said this is always your 0 point down here. In other words, if you look at the preview here, I'm going to move it over a little bit. There. You look at the preview, okay? Here's our 0 point. The preview will only show the 0 point in the bottom left-hand corner. So as it is right now, no matter how I move my object, it will move on the preview. And whenever you put your 0, your tool out on the bottom left-hand corner of your material, that square is going to be carved out exactly where I put it. If I want it carved there, I'll leave it there. If I want to carve it down here, I'll leave it there. And then I put my 0 point, I zero my tool out in the bottom left-hand corner, and it'll be carved out exactly as I see it right there. Now, that is a little bit about that 0 point. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this here. Just a second, let me bring this over. Okay, now, in theory, I should be able to take this whole piece of paper right off of my screen with that 0 point. And no matter where I move that around on my table, on my machine, and I set it down. As long as I put my 0 point in the bottom left-hand corner, it's going to come out exactly like that. But now there's two ways to manipulate your object. First of all, by being 100% correct on putting the size of your material in here. If you do not have it 100% correct, what I'm about to tell you will not be correct. So your material has to be 100% correct. Then you can go up here to edit. Go to edit and go all the way down. Here, center to material. Boom. And it's centered exactly because my material size was exactly on. So it will center it to my material. This is the easy way to do things. This is the easy, and this is the Mickey Mouse way of doing things. This is for beginners, this here. But most of you people are not beginners anymore. You want to kind of break out of your chains and start moving things around a little bit. So that's where it starts getting interesting. Now, what I'm going to teach you here is this. Let me just find one piece of wood here. Just a second. There we go. All right. You have a round piece of wood. And guess what? That is going to be a dilemma. Because if you put this piece of wood on your machine, okay, and let me just find a tool here. Okay. You put this on your machine, and let's say the bottom left-hand corner is Z0. Okay? Or, I mean, X, Y, your 0 point. How are you going to put your 0 point over here when this is down on your machine and your 0 point is over here in the air? This is down on your machine and your 0 point's down here, because if you look, put the square on it, your 0 point is going to be down here. Okay? So you can't really put a 0 point on the round piece of wood. So the way we do that is, why not let me see, where's my mouse? Okay, there we are. Mouse disappeared there for a second. So why not put our 0 point dead center of our workpiece? So then, guess what? Wherever I set my tool down on my material, that will be the center of my object also. Okay? So now, remember I said 0 point down here, your X0, Y0 will never change. That is written in stone here. And that will always be your 0 point. So you cannot manipulate this 0 point at all. So what is it you have to manipulate? Guess what? Your object. Okay? And the way we do this is, first of all, we have to have a center point as a reference. How do we do that? Well, duh. Right here, you have your dice, which is going to depict your reference point. So I click on the center. There. I just told it that right now I'm using my center reference on my object as my reference point, the center of it. Now, what I do is, remember I told you I can't move my 0 point, but I sure in the heck can move my object. So now I'm going to put my 0 point dead smack center in the middle. And how do I do that? First of all, I have to reference my center. I have to use my center as reference. Excuse me. And then I go up here and I see that it is 75 millimeters from my 0 point. The center is. If I come right down here, it's 75 millimeters. All right. This is the cool part. This is the part you need to understand to be able to manipulate your object to get it where you want it. And the way you do that is this. Right now, I am referencing the center of my object. Then I go over here and I highlight all that and I delete it. That's all I have is 0. Watch what happens when I hit enter. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Look how it brought it dead center in the middle of that object. That was only in X. Watch what happens when I do Y now. Okay, delete. Now, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Guess what? I'm going to show you something now. Guess what? Your 0 point is now dead center of your object. Huh? In other words, wherever I put my tool down on my machine, that will be just like putting it right here. And it will carve out the square equally on 4 sides away from that 0 point. It will be dead center. Okay? So now, if I wanted that square if I wanted the square on this round piece of wood, I mark my center, like you see here. I put this on my machine. I put it on my machine, and guess what? I bring my 0 point right dead center, right in the dead center there. And I bring my tool all the way down to the material. I have just set my 0 point. And that square is going to be carved out exactly around my 0 point. Did you people understand that? This here, manipulating your 0 point, is what carving is all about. I'm going to show you a little bit more here. No, now one more thing. You're saying here, oh, but it's off the chart here. No, it's not. This chart continues going down, and this chart here, these numbers here, continue over to the left. Anything left of the 0 point in the x-axis is negative numbers. Anything to the right is positive. Same as y. Anything above your 0 point are positive numbers. And you get down here, anything below is negative numbers. So these numbers keep going. It's only Easel that stops them right here just to show you this, okay? And Remember what I told you. Remember what I told you. This drawing here, your preview, will only show you 0 point at the bottom left. It will only do that. But I'm going to show you a little something here. Watch this. Watch when I hit simulate. Okay? Okay, watch when I hit simulate now. It's creating a G code for that square. And you see there, and it starts right from the tool, moves from the 0 point, goes out, and it'll start carving. But remember, now that 0 point is dead center on my circular piece of wood. Okay? It's not here in the bottom left-hand corner. It is literally on my machine. It is dead center of this round piece of wood. So that square is going to be carved out in my piece of wood. Just like here. That is why this window here is a little deceiving, because it only shows bottom left-hand corner as 0 point. When in reality, you could put your 0 point here, 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 wherever you want it. You can put your 0 point. And wherever you put that 0 point, that box is going to come out exactly around it. Okay? So you have to remember, this is a little bit deceiving with the 0 point only on the left-hand side. Okay? Bottom left-hand corner. It is deceiving. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit more here. Let me see. I'll just move things over here. Okay, just rearrange here a little bit. So now I'm going to show you something else. So let's say that you really want to use that bottom left-hand corner as your 0 point, and that you want your box to come out exactly over here with the bottom left-hand corner nestled down in your 0 point. Okay? And the way we do that, I'm going to show you. Remember now we have been referencing everything to the center of our object. And you see right now, the center of our object, the center right here, it is at X0 and Y0, right there. That's our center of our object right there. So let's just say now, I want to move this, nestle it down in the corner here, but I want it perfect. I mean, I don't want off of 0.5 millimeter. No, I want it perfect. So the way I do that, I go to my reference point again. And I'm going to use my bottom left-hand corner as my reference. Okay? So now it's telling me that I am 25.8 millimeters, 10, 20, 5.8 millimeters to the right. And I'm 13.4 millimeters, 10, 11, 12, 13.4, and we're right here in Y. So we go up here again to position. And here I put in 0. Look at that. It brought it right, nestled it right over to the 0 point on my x-axis. Now I'm going to bring it down in my y, and I just put in here, I put in 0, and enter, and there. It is nestled right down in the bottom left-hand corner. So now, whenever I put my tool down on my material, it is going to carve it exactly to the right and exactly over it. Okay? Now, let's just say that you're doing a project. You're doing a project. This is your piece of wood. And you want this square exactly opposite of where it is now. You want it nestled up in this corner of your workpiece. Okay? How do we do that? Well, first of all, we need a reference. Right now we're referencing bottom left-hand corner. But if we want this corner nestled up in this corner, then we got to do a little calculating. Okay? Because watch what happens here. I'm referencing this point right now. Okay? I'm referencing exactly this point right here. Watch what happens if I put that to 0. You see that? It went right off the chart. And I'll show you. Because I just said that I wanted my upper right-hand corner, and I said I want it to be at x0. Here's x0, and my x0 is right at that point. Now, if I put my y to 0, if I grab that 8, there we go. And I put my y to 0, guess what? It's now below there. In other words, wherever I put my tool down on my piece of wood, it's going to carve that square out below it and to the left of it. It's going to carve it out exactly like that. And this is my 0 point. So we wanted this corner. We wanted this upper right-hand corner up in the upper right-hand corner of my piece of wood. Okay, how do we do that? Let's see here. Let me try to get over here so we can see what's happening here. And I got to highlight it. Okay. So now I want this square up here in this corner here. So that when I use my 0 point on the bottom left-hand corner of my piece of wood, it's going to go all the way over and it's going to carve that square out in the upper right-hand corner. The first thing I have to do, we are referencing the upper top corner of our object. And it is at x0, y0, which is your upper top right corner is your reference point. And it is at your 0 point. And Wherever you put your tool down, it is going to carve it out below your 0 point and to the left. Okay, now we want to move it up to here. All right, if you imagine, watch this, let me grab this. Now, if you imagine this corner here, right here, we want it to go right here. This is the size of our material, 150 millimeters, 150. So watch this. So I put right in here, I put 150 millimeters. Okay? And I hit enter. It's going to come right over and it's going to line itself up there. Now, wherever I put my tool down on my piece of wood that is 100 by 150 millimeters, it's going to look exactly like this, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted this corner up here. So I have to go back to my reference point here. And I have to look at it here in Y. It says 60.1. If I go from my reference point, go straight across, that's 60.1. But I want it to be at 100 up here. I want it up here. No problem. I just change it to 100. It's simple as that. 100. Watch. Boom. There you go. It can't be any easier. Now, let's just say that square, you're going to be using it for something. And it has to be exactly 75 width. Okay, and I'll say 75. Now watch what happens when I put in 75. It's going to stretch it over to the left because I have not changed my reference point. I'm still referencing my 0 point up here. Or I mean I'm using this upper right-hand corner as my reference. And I have put in the numbers, this number here, 150 and 100, right there for that corner. Wherever I put my tool down on my machine will carve it basically, starting here, about 75 millimeters to the right and 48 millimeters to above the 0 point. And it's going to carve that out just like that. So let's say size-wise, I wanted it exactly 75 millimeters. And I want it exactly 43.2 millimeters long. Or height. I'm sorry. So that's how you get exact sizes. And that's what it says here. Size. Size right there. That is the size of your object. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you something else. Let's say that this dimension, 75 millimeters by 32.2, is exactly what you want, but you only want it 1 millimeter bigger. Or say 3 millimeters bigger. Okay, what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is lock. Put the lock on. I'm saying now, keep the size relationship exactly how it is, no matter if I scale it up or down. So if I say 75 and I want to go just 3 more, so I say 78. Okay, it will automatically change this 43.2 to keep the same relationship. There you go, 44.9. You have the same relationship. Okay? The next window down here, rotation. Do you want to rotate it? 45 degrees. Watch. Rotate 45. Boom. Edit. Undo rotate. Boom. Corner radius. I think that carving would have looked really nice with a corner radius. All right. Let me put in corner radius of 10 millimeters. And it put it on both of them automatically. Because I had the lock on. Watch this. If I take the lock off and I change this to 5 millimeters, you see how it's cockeyed now? It's only 5 millimeters this way and 10 this way. Right here, 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters. So I can just backspace that and put 10 millimeters back in because that's really what I wanted. So now I put my tool at the bottom left-hand corner of my material, and it's going to come right up and it's going to cut that out just as per this. See here? There's our 0 point. And as I play it, it's going to come right up here. And then it's going to cut it out. Okay? This is how you manipulate your 0 points. It's all done right here. All done right here. But I can come here and I can say edit. I can grab this here anytime I want. And I go up to edit, go all the way down, and I can say center to material. And it will be centered. There you go. And that is irrelevant of which corners you're referencing to. It's still going to reference dimension-wise. It's still going to reference to this corner up here. It's still telling me it's 114 millimeters to the right of my 0 point, which it is. Here's 110, 114 right there, and that's it. And it's telling me that it is 72.5 millimeters, 72.5, and that's right here. Or, I'm sorry, 72.5 is right here. So it's your reference point is top right. If I put it down to here, down to bottom left, nothing happens except the numbers change. I'm just saying now, by putting my dot here, I want these measurements to be done from here down to here. From this corner down to here. Okay? So that is how you manipulate 0 points. Okay? That was, that's the way you do it. So, like I said, these videos here, these videos on my YouTube channel, I'm going to try to keep them short, precise, and to the point of what I'm trying to teach. So, with that, I can see Bob Perone and Steve Morigi. Hi. Oh, you guys made it to YouTube. Great. So now I think all my videos here are going to be on YouTube. I am going to try to find out. I noticed everything was backwards on the screen over there, so I'm going to have to do something about that. I got a little bit of stuff I I got a tweak on, and I do have a better microphone that might work better. So, but anyways, I would like to thank everyone for joining in, and whoever watches this in the future, I hope it helps you understand how to move your object within your 0 point. Okay? Have a good evening, everybody. And I am now going to end my stream.